Welcome to Business Connect, a podcast produced and presented by the City of Miramar in the great state of Florida, the gateway to the Caribbean and Latin America. This podcast airs every third Thursday in the month at 7 p.m. and brings you information, tips, and ideas from experts to take your business to the next level. We also get to hear from folks who have done it all and can share insights with you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Johnny Douglas.
Welcome to the City of Miramar's Business Connect, where we connect your business to what's important. I'm Johnny Douglas, and I'm your host for today. Today we have a great panel. We're going to be discussing the ways that City of Miramar is protected and in many different kind of ways through our community and through our businesses. We have on hand here today Fire Marshal Jose Gregorish and Police Chief Delrish Moss. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Very well. Good. Excellent.
I'm glad to have you here. You know, City of Miramar has grown over the years and have become, I guess, one of the cities to be in. I guess one of the cities that are, rival against any other city. With this diversity and how we have businesses here that are from Fortune 500s to mom and pops, this is a city to marvel. Wouldn't you say that?
No, I'd absolutely say that. When I moved to Miramar in 1994, I think the population was probably half of what it is today. There weren't as many businesses, but now it's booming with businesses. It's growing exponentially, and it's growing in good, positive ways.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And so I brought that up because being a police chief, there's 134.72K residents here in the City of Miramar. How does that affect the police department in the City of Miramar?
Well, I think as far as the police department is concerned, it really affects the need to grow. And one of the things that we've done to keep up with that growth is a few months ago, we applied for and secured a grant that's going to allow us to increase the number of police officers that we have actually working by an additional 35. Taking us to the highest point that we've ever been in the history of Miramar. But the other challenge is making sure that we're staying community focused, because while we work to keep people safe, I think that people are a force multiplier. Working with us is how we get information. It's how things get done. Policing, while it's the job of the police, it really starts with policing ourselves as individuals and as a city collectively.
While you have the audience attention here, how can the community itself partner with the police department to make sure that some of those implementations that you put in place can work effectively for them?
Well, we have a number of ways that you can partner with the police. One of the things is people have taken the time to go through the Citizens Police Academy. It's volunteer time, but it actually gives you an opportunity to sign up with the police department and learn about the different units we have, the different systems that we have in place, and sort of get an overview of how we operate. And that really helps people go back to their neighborhood and share that information. That's one way. And for businesses, we also have the Business Police Academy. So people who have businesses can also sign up to work with the police department and learn more about our operations. I think knowledge is power, and that really helps us create not only partnerships, but also it helps us in terms of making sure that people are safe, because it teaches you how to also assist in that.
So what are some of those programs? If I was a business owner and I'm moving into the City of Miramar, I'm going to get to you because I know that there's a lot of things that take place that business owners probably are not aware of when they decide they want to, and every business I speak to wants to move to Miramar. So what are some of those things you have in place?
Well, I would say, one, sign up for our Business Police Academy, because that will give you an opportunity to actually learn hand over fist what we do. But the other thing too is every neighborhood, no matter where your business is, you have a community resource officer, and that person is really your liaison to the police department. They're designed to not only work with businesses and residents, but they're also designed to help you get information and better access our services. So getting in contact with and learning who your community resource officer is one thing that I absolutely recommend. But the other thing too is to sign up for our Business Police Academy or the Citizens Police Academy. Both of them are great programs.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And now, so I'm a new business, Jose, yes, and I'm coming in, and I'm excited. I found my location. I've gone through the Now I'm going to go through the permitting part. I'm going to go through the safety violations and all that, or safety measures.
Yes, sir.
As a business owner, how do I stay in compliance?
So I'm very, very happy that you asked that question. One of the most important things and one of the most beautiful things about the City of Miramar and our commitment to that business community is we pride ourselves on being one of the most customer service friendly. We want you to come in and talk to us before you even go through that permitting process, if possible. Oftentimes we serve as an advocate for those businesses as they're moving in before they sign that lease. It's super important that they reach out to us so that we can help them navigate through that process. Even if they have businesses in other cities, the reality is every city does things a little bit different. And there are certain criteria and certain requirements that are very specific to our city. We pride ourselves in our safety here. It's one of the safest cities to own a business in. And all you have to do is look on the news and see all of the fires that happen in all the cities around us. And yet you look at the city of Miramar and that number is very, very small. In fact, most of the fires we have in our city are actually residential fires. They're not commercial fires. And that's because we have an extremely aggressive fire prevention bureau who works with the business community to ensure that they don't have to know all those fire codes. That's our job. We want to go out there and want to educate those individuals on how to keep themselves and their businesses safe. Unfortunately, when we do have one of these fires, folks don't realize how much of an impact that can have on their bottom line. I've seen very few businesses recover from a fire should one happen. There's a tremendous amount of loss that happens as a result of that. And of course, insurance companies aren't necessarily looking to cut you a check as that business owner if you didn't do your due diligence and maintain that business with all of the codes that are necessary. Oftentimes, individuals think that they can save some money by not going through that permitting process, that they're going to put a little extra change in their pocket if they can bypass some of those things that are in place by their city to help keep them safe. And so what we find is that when they realize that we're here really for them, we're here to provide a service to ensure that they're following all those safety items so that ultimately they're not dealing with a catastrophe, then the whole process moves just that much more smoother. But the biggest message I want to get across is that it is one of the safest cities to operate in. It's that way by design. And we encourage them to come out and reach out to the fire department and make contact. We have a team of individuals who are more than happy, willing, and looking forward to working with them to help them through those very initial stressful stages. The reality is we've done a few ribbon cutting ceremonies together, and that topic always comes up. Oh, the permitting process, it was so painful, it was so long. But we always say the same thing. We said that up front. We promised you that it may seem like it was very tedious and but it's for a reason. And when you finally sign and you're good to go and we give you the full permission to go ahead and open to the public, we know that not just you, not just your business, but anyone visiting that business, they're all going to be safe. And that is paramount. It's absolute key for the longevity of those businesses here in the city. We want to bring them in, but we want to keep them, and we want to keep them safe, and that's just as important. So.
You know, I have to concur with you on the basis of my position in the city is to be the business outreach. So I go and I talk to these businesses and I visit the business owners. And as I talk to them, the one thing I do hear is that, oh, the permitting process was like, oh man, I was pulling my hair out. And I says, well, keep in mind, I understand your concern, but keep in mind that if I can speak for the city of Miramar, we don't want to have any buildings falling. We don't want to have any business burning up. We don't have any buildings that are not up to code. I said, so therefore, yes, the process can be kind of challenging for you, but at the end, when you cut that ribbon, you understand that you're in a safe place and your customers can feel you're in a safe place as well. One reason why I want both of you on the show today is because I want the public to understand that the processes that are in place are not to hurt you.
Correct.
They are to help you and to help your business grow and be sustainable in the city of Miramar.
100%.
So after I've opened my business, I've gone through first let me ask this question before I get to that one. What are some of the consequences of businesses who do not go through the proper processes on both ends?
Well, I think for us, so as a part of the police department, there's also code enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And code enforcement is really designed to make sure that we're following those codes that, especially those aesthetic codes that make your business attractive. You know, if the place looks run down, if it looks like it's unkept and all those things, you're not going to attract customers. And so one of the things that we do with code enforcement is we actually go out and we make sure that you're following that part of the process too. And while you think it might be for the city, it really is for your bottom line. One of the things that it does is it helps attract people to you. But even with that, when you start to, you have to think about it also from a security standpoint. Mm-hmm. And so when I talked about the community resource officers, each one of them is something called CEPTAT certified, meaning they've gone through a program entitled Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. Because making sure that your business is safe and making sure that you've done the things to mitigate problems that might cause you to be victimized, all those things are really designed to make sure that you operate in an optimal fashion, that your customers are safe, that you're safe, and that you get repeat business because you've taken those steps.
That's a very important statement there, because most people are appealed and driven to a business because, first of all, it's eye-catching, it's appearance. Mm-hmm. And so if those appearances are up to par, then you're going to get those people coming in, your customers coming in and feeling more relaxed, feeling more comfortable, and more apt to order or give you business.
Especially if it's food, right?
Especially if it's food. Exactly, especially if it's food. And so, again, so now you're in business. You've gone through what they call the grueling pain of permitting and going through the zoning process. You got your business tax in order. Everything is done. You're opening up now. From a business owner's perspective, a city as safe as Miramar, what are measures that we have that can contain those safety measures for business owners from like regular robbery or something like that? Do we have anything in place for that?
And so the community resource officers are really designed to come out and make sure that that the steps are in place to minimize crime, making sure that you do things like cut back hedges so someone can't hide behind to gain entry into the business illegally. Code enforcement also comes out and they make sure that you're doing all those things that maintain curb appeal, and all of the things, all of the measures are put in place so that you can maintain not only a good looking business, but a safe environment so that customers know, one, it's safe to come there. Two, you know that your stuff is secure when you're home at sleep at night after a long day of work. And three, so that we know it's not a place that's attracting repeat offenses and things of that nature, making it really drive down the value of where you're located.
And I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people don't understand there's a method to the madness. You know, some of them think well, why do we have to cut this back? Well, why can I have this kind of fence? Or why can I have this kind of bar? Or why can I do this? There's a reason behind that, and it is for their safety and their protection.
It is absolutely for their safety. And, think of it like when you're doing the things to mitigate storm. Mm-hmm. You get impact windows, you get shutters, you get all these things to maintain the integrity of the structure during a wind event or during a storm. Mm-hmm. Well, what we are also trying to avoid is a storm of crime. And we do that, one, by making sure that we develop a great relationship with the police so that they can come out and help you create the best design to avoid crime, but code enforcement so that they can also help you do the things that are necessary to maintain the appearance and safety of the structure.
Okay, awesome. That's great. That's good to know. It's important to have this kind of conversation for the business community, and this broadcast goes out to all of the business communities around the surrounding area. So on all of our social media platforms. So I'm so glad that you're saying this. So now you kind of won't get these, looks when you come by and say, it's for you, it's not for me,
You know, like I talk to police officers when we start to talk about all of the rules and policies that we have, and I always say that there's someone's name attached to every policy that's created. We identify a problem, we figure out a way to mitigate that problem, and then we come up with rules and things to make sure that we don't have a repeat of those issues. While the processes may seem arduous, while they may seem difficult, they really are designed to help you because we've seen that before and we've taken steps to address it for the future.
So I'm gonna double back to you, Jose, again, because through that process of going through the fire codes and all of that, when a business owner comes to you and they're trying to figure out what to do next and how that happens, what are some of the advice you give them or the encouragement you give them to not feel defeated?
Certainly, definitely.
But you can move on through this, but we're going to help you through this because it has to be done.
Correct.
But how do you handle that delicately so they won't?
And I will tell you, many a time here in our beautiful city, have I held a business owner who was crying because they had no idea when they were moving into this box that there was an issue with some of those protective systems that are in play. But whether it be because somebody performed some illegal construction or because certain things weren't maintained the way they needed to. And there's a cost associated with fixing it. It's a very real cost that could amount in the thousands of dollars. And so, you know, I personally have had individuals break down and start crying. And of course, this is such a compassionate city. And let me just follow Chief Moss's comment from earlier. Most folks have no idea how much work happens behind the scenes in order to make some of these things happen. Law enforcement and fire work very closely together when a new business is coming in, especially if there's construction that's involved through the DRC process. Everyone has a seat at the table so that we're transparent, where we can educate and inform what those standards are that most folks don't know. They simply don't know. So we don't approach it from that sort of angle where it feels like a burden to sit down. We take tremendous amount of pride in sitting down with these individuals and educating them on here's the whys and here's the hows. And again, in those specific scenarios where you have someone who they've signed the lease, they've committed, they think we're going to be able to make follow that American dream and do some great things here in the city, and then are faced and hit with the sudden punch that, but before that happens, we're going to have to spend a ton of money. We say this is not our first rodeo. We've done this 100 times. We'll help you in any way that we can navigate through how to get the right folks in here to help you make some of those decisions. The idea is not punitive. It's not a fine thing. We're not looking to hit people with permit fees and any of that. The reality is at the end, we want them to succeed. The city of Miramar is only as successful as a business community. If we're not helping them succeed in our city, that's going to ultimately affect us as well. So we want them to be successful, and guiding them through that process is something we've always taken a tremendous amount of pride in. There's no need to worry. There's nothing that can't be accomplished with the right attitude about wanting to fix it for the right reasons. Everything else, yes, there may be some penalties, but ultimately it is way better to have to spend X amount of money on fixing an issue than not having something catastrophic happen where you end up now in prison because of a decision that was made to not do something correctly and someone ends up losing their life. So when you put that into perspective and you ensure them that they're not in trouble, it's not their fault, we're here to help them, and we promise we'll hold their hands through that process all the way through to the end, and we're going to see each other again, and there's going to be a beautiful ribbon cutting ceremony, and you're going to be, in 3 months, you'll forget that any of this was even an issue for you. We've done it before, it calms them down, and of course, we are able to move through that process. But it is an initial shock, definitely. It doesn't need to be.
I've had the honor of seeing your reaction at a ribbon cutting when they've gone through the process.
Yes, sir.
And they're now sitting there like they're excited. You know, the doors are finally open, and I see you back there beaming for them. You're more excited than they are that they have completed this process. And I think I says, wow, that's what you call dedication. Somebody whose heart is in the job and really appreciates the outcome.
Yes, sir.
And those favorable outcomes when they're ready to open those doors and they're having that ribbon cutting and the mayor's there, everybody's there celebrating. You're back there like, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, we are. We are. We're very happy for them.
Yeah.
And we typically will remind them.
Right.
I told you were going to be okay. Remember when we said you were going to be okay? You know, it always works out.
Yeah.
It's just an education thing
Right.
at the end of it. No one purposely, truly, no one who wants to open a business and provide a service to the community is going in with the intent of doing something wrong.
Right.
And we're very cognizant of that.
One of the things I love about what I do is when I'm talking to a new business owner, and they call our office and they want to come in and they want to talk about what are my steps to get this done. I'll tell them immediately, says, have you signed a lease yet?
Right.
And they'll say no. I says, great, come see us first. Do that first. Come see us first, and let us kind of lay out your plan for us. And let us walk you through that, because the reason why is because our our business economic development department have many resources that they don't even know that exist that can help them through those financial barriers that they even have by opening a business. But one of the things I tell them all the time is that to meet our team, meet with us, and let us take you down to the permitting department. Let us walk you down there, get the documents that you need, get that checklist and check it off, and make sure that you're in compliance with everything before you even start a build out. Have you talked to your prospective landlord? Have you talked to him about extending time out for build out before you even start paying your rent? You have a build out period time there. Consider doing those things. So I understand what you're talking about by having them educated first. Right. Before they make this big major step. Because I noticed one thing about business owners, they do not go in business to fail. They go into business, they have a great idea, a great product, which the community they think that they can feed it to. And so we want to make sure that they're successful in doing that the same way you guys are.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yes.
And again, we echo that. We want them to come in and talk to us first. If any of the issues that we've ever faced would have been very easily avoided had we had an opportunity to reach some of those individuals first. In fact, recently, we had such a phone call. Someone was considering, and they got savvy about reaching out to us first. And you know, a lot of folks don't understand that there's a lot to that fire code. There may be things that simply cannot be held in certain areas. For example, we wouldn't want a chemical manufacturing facility next to a daycare. Most folks wouldn't want that either, knowing that their small child may be exposed to a great danger should something happen. So we look at every square millimeter of a space before that and most folks truly don't know the amount of work that happens before we get to that fire marshal final or that building certificate of occupancy. We work very closely with architects, with engineers, with a whole gamut of individuals to ensure that something as simple as the flooring that's installed meets certain fire retardant criteria. A rug that may be placed on the floor, anything that goes on the wall that's added on afterward. All those things can affect the way that fire behaves in a building should something bad happen. So, and they all need to work together. So that's a lot of what we do in our division is take a look at all those moving pieces and ensure that we've minimized to the best of our ability the opportunity for something really bad to happen. But it's a lot. It's a lot for someone who doesn't have a background in that to understand, and it's easy to assume that it's punitive or we're asking for it just because we want to. Right. That's not the case at all. Not even a little bit. We want them to be safe, and there's a lot more to it than meets the eye.
It's good that I have the inside scoop because I work with the city as well. One of the things that I've noticed on the weekends, I take pride in driving from the West Miramar all the way to 441. My wife and I'll take her around. She says, "Where are we going to go eat today?" So I met this great restaurant owner. Let's go and eat in Miramar. And I live in Pembroke Pines. so I spend most of my money in Miramar. But the one thing that I relish at is the fact that the police department is so on point. Like, you guys you're visible, and there's not a lot of surrounding communities that have visible police force where people can say, "Oh wow, okay, I see safety, I see that." Is there a strategy to that?
Well, there absolutely is. I mean, let's think about the design of policing, right? We wear a uniform with funny patches on the side and a badge and all these other things. We put stripes and lights on cars to ensure that, one, you see us, because seeing us is going to prevent the lion's share of what happens. And so it's a very key strategy to be out there. I don't know if you've noticed, but the police officers also have their California lights on. So you'll see the red and blue light on, not the flashing ones, but that one on. That's to make sure that not only are we visible, but that you see us, that you pay attention to the fact that we're there, because it prevents all sorts of things like speeding. It prevents people wanting to break in. When you see a police officer, you're not going to do it on that corner. And so if we try to be on every corner, the ultimate goal is to try to prevent things from happening everywhere.
Wow. That's good to hear. I have a funny story to tell you. Years ago, before I started working for the City of Miramar, I moved down here from Cleveland about 20 years ago. I got my first ticket in Miramar. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, no, I'm going to get a ticket." So the police officer walked over to me. He was the most friendliest police officer. I says, "Wow, I never felt great about getting a ticket." I felt so great about getting this ticket. I was like, "Wow!" It was a great encounter. So when I hear some of the things about police officers and people are afraid, and I think to myself, "Well, that's not everywhere. I don't see that everywhere," because, like I said, that was my very first encounter with any law enforcement from moving from up north here, and it happened to be a Miramar police officer who was really over the top friendly.
Well, no, that's great. There's an old saying that the art of persuasion is telling a person to go to Hades, and in a way that has them to enjoy the ride or look forward to the ride. Well, you try to do the same thing with policing. I think we get more when we realize that we're customer service friendly. Serve and protect rather than protect and serve is paramount, because ultimately this is a service job, and as a business, your success is our success. And so I think whether it be police, fire, or any of the city services, that we really try to be customer service and customer forward.
Well, that's good to know. Well, you know what? I'd like to thank the both of you for being my guest today. We've learned so much about the City of Miramar's protective measures for business community and for our community at large. We appreciate you, everything you do. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
To all our business owners out there listening, thank you for being a part of our show today. Please stay connected with the City of Miramar through MiramarFL.gov. Visit our website, learn more about your city. We also have a newsletter. It's called Miramar Business Pulse. You'll find that on MiramarFL.gov/Business Pulse. Also, I want to bring to your memory, if you go on our website, look for economic development and housing, and go under there, you'll see we have a new app for our business owners. It's called Open Rewards Local Shop Local Miramar. You download this app, and the city will pay you 10% cash back on businesses that you shop with in the City of Miramar that is participating in that program. So go to your app store, download Open Rewards, Shop Local, Miramar, and start saving while you shop. Again, thank you for joining us. Be kind, but most importantly, stay connected.
Thanks for listening to the Business Connect podcast. Be sure to visit MiramarFL.gov/podcast to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content. We would love for you to subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes. Until next time.